show live. Let's see. Okay, how do I get rid of this? The pro tips clutter. Don't know. Oh my gosh. I'm pleased with how this looks so far. Looks really similar to one new message. Carol, okay. It's saying there's like an I. Okay, if you want to help me test out the latency, because apparently HAPS has cured their latency issue. So they say, I'm 1 minute in right now. Oh, things are freezing. It's saying 1 minute instead of seconds. Maybe it's just 1 minute. They don't do a second countdown the whole time. If you're still here, because it's not saying that anyone's viewing my broadcast, get ready to type the number 1 when I say, if you're still here. Maybe we should establish that first. Okay, on your mark. Now it's saying fair or poor. Oh my gosh. Disaster. Fair. On your mark. If you're still here, type 1. We'll see how long it takes. Maybe she's not. Who knows? HAPS. The screen looks smaller. Well, I can tell you're going through Periscope. So maybe you have a different experience through Periscope than you would if you had the HAPS. Oh, okay. So that was about, I'm going to say 10 seconds, like a 10-second delay. So much better than before, I think. Also, you're going through Periscope, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay there. Now it's saying 16 people are watching. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my awkward restart of the HAPS. Please say hello. Please follow me on HAPS. I'm going to be here at least this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's my plan. And then I'm going to, Tuesdays and Thursdays, take the mornings off to start my new running program. But also maybe try some other platforms to see which works better. Yes, I should have done this prior to the very end of Periscope, but here we are. There were some kinks. Do I text Andrew to get in here? I feel like I should. Andrew, watch my replay. I can't text you. I thought I told you guys that I was going to be on HAPS on Monday, but I would like to read Hermann Hesse's Siddhartha on HAPS. Mahmoud, I see you're coming in through Periscope too. Yeah, I'm going to be on HAPS more. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for letting me know you're here, because I have no idea if you are or not. We're going to read a book, drink some coffee, read 1 or 2 chapters today, and have fun and see if this is still Andrew. I was calling you. I was calling your name. I was like, should I have texted Andrew? Okay. We're reading Siddhartha. Who has read this book already. I know Andrew has. Oh, Andrew, you're in. I'm noticing you're in on HAPS. Let's test using, because you're here. Let's test the latency. I had Carol do it earlier. When I say 1, type the number 1. Get ready. On your mark, get set, go. Type 1. Wow. That's pretty instantaneous, Andrew. I think I counted 2 or 3 seconds there. Very pleased. I wish I knew when you were in here or not. Like, I wish I knew who was watching me, like on Periscope. Okay, I'm excited. Yay. Now, we just need to be able to do private broadcasts, like Periscope, and to see who's actually in the broadcast. And then I'll be fine. I'll be okay with HAPS. So I know Andrew's read this. Andrew sent me this book. I think it's a good time to reread Siddhartha. But for anyone else who's in here, I'm curious to know if you've read it or not. Feel free to comment. Wow. Sometimes I drink coffee before I get on live stream. I'm gonna have to stop saying Periscope. And then sometimes I drink it right when I'm first on here, and when I feel like I'm a little more centered if I have just a little bit before I get on, because now I just want to sit here and just guzzle the coffee. Okay. Let's read this. Andrew, my plan for this week. Do you love my squeaky? My plan for this week is to use HAPS on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Tuesday and Thursday morning, I'm going to start my running program. But I might try a different platform on those days, like Twitter Live, but not in the morning, because I feel like we need to experiment this month. And I don't think I'll be reading Siddhartha. I don't know what I'll do. But anyway, let's read this. Maybe we can talk later. I won't make this too long. I'm already at the 8-minute mark. Warning, this is for ages 14 and up. I don't know why. Part 1, Siddhartha. Nobody's commenting. I'm just going to keep going. I hope I'm good. The Brahmin's son. In the shade of the house, in the sunshine on the riverbank, by the boats, in the shade of the sallow wood and the fig tree, Siddhartha, the handsome Brahmin's son, grew up with his friend Govinda. The son borrowed his slender shoulders on the riverbank. The sun browned his slender shoulders on the riverbank while bathing at the holy ablutions, at the holy sacrifices. Shadows passed across his eyes in the mango grove during play, while his mother sang during his father's teachings, when with the learned men. Apparently, I forgot how to read. Siddhartha had already long taken part in the learned men's conversations, had engaged in debate with Govinda, and had practiced the art of contemplation and meditation with him. Already he knew how to pronounce Om silently, this word of words, to say inwardly with the intake of breath. Tate, Tate, yes. So we've been testing latency and we're down to like a few seconds, which is not bad. Maybe we can convince Lalo, and it's way different than the last time you were in here. Am I full screen, guys? And I forgot to ask that too, because on my end, it looks very similar to Periscope with a full screen. Also, they have new gadgets on the top. Oh, wonderful. Do I look older? More wrinkly? I'm paranoid. My birthday. Cool. We're gonna read this book on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're going to experiment with Twitter Live on Tuesday and Thursday this week. We'll do another app next week. Same. I was just saying that. If only I knew who was in here. If I wasn't just talking to the ether. Haps! Help! Okay, already he knew how to pronounce Om silently, this word of words, to say it inwardly, and we're reading Siddhartha, Tate. With the intake of breath, when breathing out with all his soul, his brow radiating the glow of pure spirit. Already he knew how to recognize Atman within the depth of his being, indestructible at once with the universe. There was happiness in his father's heart because of his son, who was intelligent and thirsty for knowledge. He saw him growing up to be a great learned man, a priest, a prince among Brahmins. There was a pride in his mother's breast when she saw him walking, sitting down, and rising. Siddhartha, strong, handsome, supple-limbed, greeting her with complete grace. Love stirred in the hearts of young Brahmins' daughters when Siddhartha walked through the streets of the town with his lofty brow, his king-like eyes, and his slim figure. Govinda, his friend, the Brahmin's son, loved him more than anybody else. He loved Siddhartha's eyes and clear voice. He loved the way he walked, his complete grace of movement. He loved everything that Siddhartha did and said, and above all, he loved his intellect, his fine, ardent thoughts, his strong will, his high vocation. Govinda knew that he would not become an ordinary Brahmin, a lazy sacrificial official. Sacrificial official sounds like a good band name. An avaricious dealer in magic sayings, a conceited, worthless orator, a wicked, sly priest, or just a good, stupid sheep amongst a large herd. No, and he, Govinda, did not want to become any of these, not a Brahmin like 10,000 others of their kind. He wanted to follow Siddhartha, the beloved, the magnificent, and if he ever became a god, if he ever entered the all-radiant, then Govinda wanted to follow him as his friend, his companion, his servant, his lance-bearer, his shadow. That was how everybody loved Siddhartha. He delighted and made everybody happy. But Siddhartha himself was not happy. Wandering along the rosy paths of the fig garden, sitting in contemplation in the bluish shade of the grove, washing his limbs in the daily bath of atonement, offering sacrifices in the depths of the shady mango wood with complete grace of manner, beloved by all, a joy to all, there was yet no joy in his own heart. Dreams and restless thoughts came flowing to him from the river, from the twinkling stars at night, from the sun's melting rays. Dreams and restlessness of the soul came to him, arising from the smoke of the sacrifices, emanating from the verses of the Rig Veda, trickling through from the teachings of the old Brahmins. Siddhartha had begun to feel the seeds of discontent within him. He had begun to feel that the love of his father and mother, and also the love of his friend Govinda, would not always make him happy, give him peace, satisfy, and suffice him. He had begun to suspect that his worthy father and his other teachers, the wise Brahmins, had already passed on to him the bulk and the best of their wisdom, that they had already poured the sum total of their knowledge into his waiting vessel, and the vessel was not full. His intellect was not satisfied. His soul was not at peace. His heart was not still. The ablutions were good, but they were water. They did not wash sins away. They did not relieve the distressed heart. The sacrifices and the supplication of the gods were excellent, but were they everything? Did the sacrifices give happiness? And what about the gods? Was it really Prajapati who had created the world? Was it not Atman, he alone, who created it? Excuse me. Were not the gods forms created like me and you, mortal, transient? Was it therefore good and right? Was it a sensible and worthy act to offer sacrifices to the gods? Yes, come in haps, Dr. X. Come in haps, it's better. And you're not too late. We've just begun. To whom else should one offer sacrifices? To whom else should one pay honor? But to him, Atman, the only one. Well, you're in Periscope. Tate is in here and she says it's much better. Andrew's here too. Andrew's here too. Also, just pausing to tell you in case, and I'm going to be repeating myself for a little while. Bear with me, guys. But for Dr. X, I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. And we'll try Twitter Live on Tuesday and Thursday, but at a different time. Yet to be determined, but not in the morning because I'm running. The water's nice. The water's nice in Haps. They've changed it. To whom else should one offer sacrifices? To whom else should one pay honor? But to him, Atman, the only one. Excuse my voice. And where was Atman to be found? Where did he dwell? Where did his eternal heart beat, if not within the self, in the innermost, the eternal? It's like the live version of Periscope, but there's no. Do you remember the broadcast? I was eating pizza. That was a Twitter Live. I'll probably do those in the evening. Major upgrade. Tate says major upgrade, perhaps. And if they're willing to listen to us and make these improvements with the latency, I think that I imagine our request for letting us know who else is in the broadcast so we can all talk amongst ourselves, chat with one another. I'm sure they'll listen to us, our wishes. Where then was it to press towards the self, towards Atman? Was there another way that was worth seeking? Nobody showed the way. Nobody knew it. Neither his father, nor the teachers and wise men, nor the holy songs. The Brahmins in their holy books knew everything, everything. They had gone into everything. The creation of the world, the origin of speech, food, inhalation, exhalation, the arrangements of the senses, the acts of the gods. They knew a tremendous number of things, but was it worthwhile knowing all these things if they did not know the one important thing, the only important thing? Many verses of the holy books, above all, the Upanishads of the Samaveda, spoke of this innermost thing. It is written, your soul is the whole world. It says that when a man is asleep, he penetrates his innermost and dwells in Atman. There was wonderful wisdom in these verses. All the knowledge of the sages was told here in the enchanting language, pure as honey collected by the bees. No, this tremendous amount of knowledge collected and preserved by successive generations of wise Brahmins could not be easily overlooked. But where were the Brahmins, the priests, the wise men who were successful not only in having this most profound knowledge, but in experiencing it? Where were the initiated who, attaining Atman in sleep, could retain it in consciousness, in life, everywhere, in speech and in action? Siddhartha knew many worthy Brahmins. Above all, his father, wholly learned of the highest esteem. His father was worthy of admiration. His manner was quiet and noble. He lived a good life. His words were wise, fine, and noble thoughts dwelt in his head. But even he, who knew so much, did he believe in bliss? Was he at peace? Was he not also a seeker insatiable? Did he not go continually to the holy springs with an insatiable thirst, to the sacrifices, to books, to the Brahmins, discourses? Why must he, the blameless one, wash away his sins and endeavor to cleanse himself anew each day? Was Atman then not within him? Was not then the source within his own heart? One must find the source within one's own self. One must possess it. Jess, welcome. Everything else was seeking, a detour, error. These were Siddhartha's thoughts. Oh, well, I'm back here. Yay, Dr. X. Dr. X is back. See, say something and we'll prove to you it's better here. The latency is better. Type the number 1. That's what we've been doing. Bye-bye Periscope. Goodbye Periscope. Hello, a whole new world of other platforms. He often repeated to himself the words from one of the Shangoya 1. That was a little longer than what was happening earlier. So it's a few more seconds, but when Andrew was in here, I think it was like 2 or 3 seconds, which is not long at all. It's very good. I was very impressed. How do you like it? How do I look? How is the screen? Tate and I have decided this is doable especially if they show us somewhere where our friends are. Also, there's a, what is this, show live button? Oh, okay. The clarity is better than scope. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm in high def. I'm in high def now, guys. Also, there's a add guests button. I can tap on a user to invite. Wonderful. Everybody sees me well. You guys can see my room better, maybe. I am too. I am too. As long as you guys keep letting me know that you're here and I'm not talking to the ether and outer space, then I'm happy. I know that's the bad thing. I have a little eye at the top that's saying 75. I'm guessing that that's just how many people. Oh, and you want to be able to let me know I'm here through hearts. Yeah, we need something simple like this, like an applause feature of some kind. At the top of my, you need a beacon. At the top of my screen, there's a little bar and it says, I've been on for 24 minutes, which is hello. But we only have a few more paid. Thank you, McGinnis, for subscribing. There's also a little eyeball that says 77 people. I'm assuming that 77, there aren't 77 people in here right now, and that's a cumulative number. But also, Tate was in here before it even, or Carol was in here before it even registered 1. Hi from Chicago. I'm also in Illinois. I'm in Southern Illinois. I'm your long lost Southern Illinois sister, long forgotten. Welcome everyone to Haps Book Club. We should just establish this now. We're a book club. We read books, we read poems, we read stuff, and we talk about it. and we emote sometimes. If you're coming from Periscope and if you're new to me from there, is what I'm saying. This is what we do on Periscope. So we're trying this out on Haps this week. And I'm usually on 9 a.m. Chicago time. This week we're trying 9 a.m. Chicago time. I'm actually streaming on Twitch right now through Haps. So if you want to check that out and check and see if I'm actually live, Dr. X, this is a convenient feature with Haps. I'm streaming multiple places. Periscope, Twitter, here at Haps, YouTube, Twitch. I'm folktale_Jess there. That's the linked account. I'm also folktale Jess, but I somehow got locked out because I used an email I don't use anymore once upon a time when I signed up for it, or that no longer exists. So I had to create a new name. So I'm folktale_Jess there. We are almost done with the first chapter of Siddhartha. And I love how, isn't it wonderful? This is my second reading of this book. I didn't read this book until just a couple of years ago. It was my first time reading it. And I've read a lot of other, not a lot, but several other books on Buddhism. But I just really enjoyed the imagery and lyricism of this one, which is wild because he wrote this in German, and so it's an English translation of German, talking about, using words. Do I need a different username in Twitch? I'm Folktale Jess everywhere I know to be. So if you just search that on different platforms, but if you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. That's the other account that I didn't see. On Twitch, I'm folktale_Jess. I don't know if I'm linked on Instagram Live, but that would be wonderful if I could via Haps too. If I could just use one platform to stream, I think that would be ideal. And make sure everyone can talk to one another and reply to one another. See what everyone's talking about. Okay, we're almost done with this first chapter. He often repeated to himself the words from one of the Chandogya Upanishads. In truth, the name of Brahman is Satya. Indeed, he who knows it enters the heavenly world each day. It often seemed near, the heavenly world, but never had he quite reached it. Never had he quenched the final thirst. And among the wise men that he knew and whose teachings he enjoyed, one who had entirely reached it, the heavenly world, one who had completely thirst. Govinda, said Siddhartha to his friend, Govinda, come with me to the banyan tree. We will practice meditation. They went to the banyan tree and sat down 20 paces apart. As he sat down, ready to pronounce the Om, Siddhartha softly recited the verse. Om is the bow, the arrow is the soul, Brahman is the arrow's goal, at which one aims unflinchingly. When the customary time for the practice of meditation had passed, Govinda rose. It was now evening. It was time to perform the evening ablutions. He called Siddhartha by his name. He did not reply. Siddhartha sat absorbed, his eyes staring as if directed at a distant goal. At the tip of his tongue, showing a little between his teeth, he did not seem to be breathing. He sat thus, lost in meditation. Okay, wonderful. Oh no! Oh, Dr. X. Oh, that's disappointing. I got your comment though. Everyone else can see Dr. X's comment, right? From Twitch, it's purple. That's how I know you're you're in Twitch. I wonder if that's a Twitch issue or a Haps issue. But I do have another device I could potentially stream from if everyone decides to, you know, if there's like a distinct rift from one platform to another, a distinct division. Some samanas once passed through Siddhartha's town, wandering ascetics. They were 3 thin, worn-out men, neither old nor young. Just go on. We'll try that next week. We'll try Twitch on Tuesdays and Thursdays. With dusty and bleeding shoulders, practically naked, scorched by the sun, solitary, strange, and hostile, lean jackals in the world of men. Around them hovered an atmosphere of still passion, of devastating service, of unpitying self-denial. In the evening, after the hour of contemplation, Siddhartha said to Govinda, "Tomorrow morning, my friend, Siddhartha is going to join the Samanas. He is going to become a Samana." Govinda blanched as he heard these words and read the decision in his friend's determined face, undeviating as the released arrow from the bow. Govinda realized from the first glance at his friend's face that now it was from his glance at his friend's face that now it was the beginning. Siddhartha was going his own way. His destiny was beginning to unfold itself, and with his destiny his own, and he became pale as a dried banana skin. "Oh, Siddhartha," he cried, "will your father permit it?" Siddhartha looked at him like one who had just awakened. As quick as lightning, he read Govinda's soul, read the anxiety, the resignation. "We will not waste words, Govinda," he said softly. "Tomorrow at daybreak, I will begin the life of the Samanas. Let us not discuss it again." So to catch you up, he's going to become an ascetic. Siddhartha went into the room where his father was sitting on a mat made of bast. He went up behind his father and remained standing there until his father felt his presence. "Is it you, Siddhartha?" the Brahmin asked. "Then speak what is on your mind." Siddhartha said, "With your permission, father, I have come to tell you that I wish to leave your house tomorrow and join the ascetics. I wish to become a samana. I trust my father will not object." The Brahmin was silent so long that the stars passed across the small window and changed their design before the silence in the room was finally broken. His son stood silent and motionless with his arms folded. The father, silent and motionless, sat on the mat, and the stars passed across the sky. Then his father said, "It is not seemly for Brahmins to utter forceful and angry words, but there is displeasure in my heart. I should not like to hear you make the request a second time." The Brahmin rose slowly. Siddhartha remained silent with folded arms. "Why are you waiting?" asked his father. "You know why," asked Siddhartha. His father left the room displeased and lay down on his bed. As an hour passed by and he could not sleep, the Brahmin rose, wandered up and down, and then left the house. He looked through the small window of the room and saw Siddhartha standing there with his arms folded, unmoving. He could see his pale robe shimmering. His heart troubled. The father returned to his bed. As another hour passed, the Brahmin could not sleep. He rose again, walked up and down, left the house, and saw the moon had risen. He looked through the window. Siddhartha stood there, unmoving, his arms folded. The moon shone on his bare shin bones. His heart troubled. The father went to bed. He returned again after an hour, and again after 2 hours, looked through the window and saw Siddhartha standing there in the moonlight, in the starlight, in the dark. And he came silently again, hour after hour, looked into the room and saw him standing, unmoving, his heart filled with anger, with anxiety, with fear, with sorrow. And in the last hour of the night before daybreak, he returned again, entered the room, and saw the youth standing there. He seemed tall and a stranger to him. "Siddhartha," he said, "why are you waiting? You know why. Will you go on standing and waiting until it is day, noon, evening? I will stand and wait. You will grow tired, Siddhartha. I will grow tired. You will fall asleep, Siddhartha. I will not fall asleep. You will die, Siddhartha. I will die. And would you rather die than obey your father?" Siddhartha has always obeyed his father. "So will you give up your project?" Siddhartha will do what his father tells him. The first light of day entered the room. The Brahmin saw that Siddhartha's knees trembled slightly, but there was no trembling in Siddhartha's face. His eyes looked far away. Then the father realized that Siddhartha could no longer remain with him at home, that he had already left him. The father touched Siddhartha's shoulder. You will go into the forest, he said, and become a samana. If you find bliss in the forest, come back and teach it to me. If you find disillusionment, come back, and we shall again offer your sacrifices to the gods together. Now go, kiss your mother and tell her where you're going. For me, however, it is time to go to the river and perform the first ablution. He dropped his hand from his son's shoulder and went out. Siddhartha swayed as he tried to walk. He controlled himself, bowed to his father, and went to his mother to do what had been told to him. As, with benumbed legs, he slowly left the still sleeping town at daybreak. A crouching shadow emerged from the last hut and joined the pilgrim. It was Govinda. You have come, said Siddhartha and smiled. I have come, said Govinda. And that was the first chapter. Is not Govinda like, I'm sure I haven't thought about this, like the symbolism, like who is Govinda? But is Govinda us? Is Govinda also the I don't know. Interesting to think about. This is my second reading, so I'm kind of deep diving. What do you guys think? Who's here? Who's made it to the end of chapter 1? And is it something you're interested in? I really like the beginning part where they're talking about how beautiful Siddhartha is and how pleasing he is to everyone. Just for being alive. And I think that's good to remind people that just you being alive, you just being here amongst people, even in this digital interface that we have, it's pleasing. It's pleasing to people. It's so pleasing to me that you guys are commenting. I just enjoy being in your presence. It's for me anyway. It's something I forget about, that people just enjoy being around me, and I enjoy being around people. That was really beautiful. All right, I'm going to go, and I will see you all on Wednesday on Haps, but follow me on Twitter. So I think we're going to try Twitter Live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe I'll talk to Andrew on the phone. Okay, so I have things to say. All right, I'll see you soon.